Hey guys, Stock Saturday. Trading212 are apparently working their way through the waiting list, onboarding new people. So I'll drop the free share link there. You can sign up and get a free share. Portfolio's down sort of £6,000 this week. I think everyone's sort of seen a little bit of red, not too good. Part of mine has come from the crypto miners. Mostly sort of here, not really too much drop in anything else. Some of the gold and silver is sort of slightly up. Gold sort of not doing too bad amid all this volatility. But yes, Argo and Hive have dropped, with the Bitcoin sort of dropping a little bit. A few sort of developments on Bitcoin, potential sort of executive order from Biden, sort of going through, sort of ordering lots of different agencies wanting to investigate various parts of crypto. So not sure what'll come of that. Wondering if people are sort of pricing in a little bit of potential downside from that, or if it's just people selling risk. Could be anything really. Crypto's a little bit unpredictable. So the REITs sort of down a little bit as well, not providing that sort of negative correlation almost that we were getting at some points. So everything's taken a hit. Not too much though, 2 or 3% mostly sort of across the board this week. Except Argo, of course, 15% down. So that's not very good. Just keep getting sort of small dividends from things like Stag and Realty Income. So I bought 20 shares at sort of 68p. So yeah, that was pretty good, but obviously doesn't make a huge difference. Yeah, some of the gold and silver miners are doing okay, 4% up. Digital Realty pretty flat, and Sylvania Platinum not doing too bad. The sort of metals prices doing okay, and I think they released some positive numbers which look pretty good. The Tritaxes are down and Vichi's down slightly. So as I say, not huge amount of change in many of these. Kind of not really paying a huge amount of attention to the stock portfolio overall, really, just letting it do its thing and yeah, see where we go. A lot of focus on crypto at the moment for me, so kind of letting this run. Airtel sort of back going green again, 62% on that, so pretty good. Did have a little drop. The FANG stocks are sort of slightly coming down, but I would say still holding up fairly well. Start to sort of be looking at Google again as sort of one of the better FANGs, to be honest. Apple sort of come down, but I'm not sure I would really want to add to that just yet. Still 15% in the green on that. Archer Daniels flat. ASOS now under £20. Interesting. Boohoo sort of getting hit as well. Aviva starting to, with the other sort of drops elsewhere, starting to wonder whether to take a little bit of profit on Aviva and sort of reinvest elsewhere. I've been looking at Facebook or Meta platforms. Wasn't really on my list sort of before, when it was sort of just Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp, but with their sort of changed focus now, sort of moving towards the Metaverse, as they call it, obviously sort of being heavy crypto, I'm not 100% convinced they're going to sort of knock it out of the park with their sort of world that they're trying to build, but it does seem like people are sort of basically writing off almost any return from that investment and just sort of carrying on the cash flows from their existing businesses. So it's sort of dropped a hell of a lot. So yeah, it does start to look attractive. Still higher valuation than Aviva, but I may come back to I'll come back to another stock shortly. So we got a huge amount of movements elsewhere, as I say, sort of 2 or 3% down on a lot of them. Broadcom surprisingly not dropping with the rest of the tech stocks. eBay having a real rough time of it. So yeah, I've gone negative on this now from sort of being, what were we, 70 in the high 70s. So yeah, I think they're reporting their earnings this coming week. So be interesting to see what they put up. Still quite like that as a platform. Hell of a profit margin as well. So I think that might be a buy if it stays down there later on. What else we got? Himax pretty flat, although it's been all over the place. Intel had a fair drop. They sort of had some investor presentations, and I think people are sort of thinking it's a bit unbelievable sort of for the future. Obviously they're not really wanting to admit that they're behind TSMC, but yeah, they're building new factories, but it's going to be a little way away. They said the sort of next series of chips are going to be a bit more delayed than the previous delay. So yeah, just all round a little bit of sort of poor sentiment on Intel. Not one that I would really want to top up at the moment, but I'd rather not sell. So I'll just see where they go. It's new CEO, so see how he gets on. More of an engineer than the sort of previous, pretty much an accountant in charge. Yeah, most of these are sort of down a couple of percent. Even legal in general. A lot of people wanting that sort of nice, great big dividend now at these prices. Lennar under 90 would look like a buy, I would think. Lockheed coming down a little bit because, well, I assume this is potentially Russia not going into war. Kind of always said that I didn't think they would. Micron doing okay. Nintendo bucking the trend. Haven't really seen any news to sort of bump this up, really. I expect this just general trading. Porsche down a little bit. Again, sort of haven't seen any particular news. I wondered if people get a bit worked up about the potential Porsche IPO. Just seems like 3 or 4% is the norm at the moment to be moving around. It doesn't necessarily take news. Process down about 3%. 10 cents down a little bit, but process seems down slightly more. Don't sort of think that's anything huge to pay concern to. The sort of South African the sort of emerging markets portfolio is starting to grow larger, so it will detach from 10 cent a little bit. Raytheon, now this is the one I was sort of thinking maybe to either sell half of or possibly even the whole thing, and put some into Facebook or Meta platforms. So Raytheon, sort of defence company with a little bit of commercial on the side with sort of airlines, but yeah, not a huge amount of growth, and they're sort of higher forward PE now than Facebook, which sort of I mentioned in Discord, sort of high, very high profit margin for Facebook, sort of 33% net profit, a lot more growth. If maybe people are a little worried that the growth will slow down with their sort of Metaverse not going all that well, but it's still a lot more growth than Raytheon, and no debt as well. So do have to sort of consider. I sort of always said when stocks drop and value isn't that far away from growth, then I would sort of potentially switch some into the growth stocks. But I sort of thought this would really be part of a broad, decline in the whole market, sort of 20-30% down or more in the S&P and the sort of world markets, but seems to be happening on individual stocks. So I think if we do get sort of 40-50% drop on the main indexes. I can't really see Facebook sort of dropping another 40 or 50% from here. I think it's got a little bit of ahead of itself in the drop. So yeah, I think in that sort of drop, I can't see people wanting to pay sort of 17, 18 forward PE for Raytheon, to be honest. Where, Facebook with the no debt, high profit margin, sort of pricing power, if you like, I think that could be a bit of a safe haven, maybe. Obviously, a lot of other people have been buying it at much, much higher prices, and they're down, wanting to hold, so could get a nice position at these prices. Rio down slightly, not too bad. Iron ore prices down a little. Samsung down slightly, nothing too much. Sega really sort of starting to push ahead, 6%. They're doing their fairly large buyback scheme, so I think that's sort of taken a little bit of shares off the table. They don't have a huge amount of volume as well, so I don't think it takes too much to sort of push this up. Wasn't all that happy that they got out of the arcade business though, but yeah, fair enough. 30% up on that now, so not too bad. My little Seneca Foods is holding up reasonably well. Shell dropped a little bit. Oil sort of a little bit bumpy, but yeah, while it's above $90, I would see that as fine. Sony's gone into the red again. Not too bothered by that. Stellantis, pretty flat. TSMC, back down under 120. No new money to add, obviously, though. Tesla, still sort of very rocky, up and down. Even though the sort of earnings figures do look pretty good, I would sort of be a buyer on this if we do get more of a sell-off. As part of my sort of bullish growth stocks that I don't hold a great deal of. Do want to get into it a bit more. Tyson, I think people got a little bit worked up by the earnings, to be honest. It was good, but it wasn't like blown out of the water. So yeah, that's just come down a little bit, but obviously on the yearly still looks absolutely fine considering the broader market, so very happy with that. Vale, a little bit more than the Rio Tinto, which was a little bit surprising considering sort of Vale have the nickel that Rio don't, and nickel sort of at 10-year highs. So yeah, haven't seen any sort of particular news that would have caused this, but would think it's pretty good with their mix of metals being slightly more favourable. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, Volkswagen down, same as Porsche. So yeah, not huge move really at the moment. I think a lot of other people are worse. So yeah, kind of just letting this run at the moment. So leave your thoughts in comments below, and like and subscribe. See you soon.